Hi guys, Soy Eva del Aire. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be answering the time-tested, oft-repeated question, what are you? Like, what are you? I actually did a second test, a second DNA test with 23andMe. And so I wanted to compare, and I said, okay, let me compare 23andMe to Ancestry.com and see if the same groups are coming up. And so I looked on 23andMe, and so the broad breakdown was 60.6% African descent and 38.8% European. And at first I raised my eyebrow, and I can't actually raise it, so this is how I raise it. At first I raised my eyebrow because I was like, wait a minute! Ancestry DNA told me I was 63% African descent, and 23andMe is telling me 60.6%. We'll round it to 61, but I lost 2%. And the reason why that I'm a little bit sensitive about this is because I was someone who, when I was growing up, my blackness was constantly challenged or called into question, right? And not because of my actual physical appearance, but because of like the way that I talked and the music I listened to and the fact that I couldn't dance, like I had no rhythm. Had nothing to do with not being black, had to do with my parents not allowing me to dance in the home. And I had to learn rhythm later in life. And in a social setting, like if rhythm is involved and you see me kind of like look like I'm really concentrating, like you see me really concentrating, like if you see me like counting under my breath, it's because of that. Because my parents didn't give me the foundation in rhythm that I needed. But that is neither here nor there. Back to this number, I lost 2% of African ancestry between 23andMe and Ancestry DNA. And so I was like, okay, well, let's see what the breakdown of the groups is. And so 23andMe doesn't have a Cameroon group, but they have Congolese, which I think would be comparable. So for 23andMe, my largest group is Nigerian, and it says 19.8% Nigerian. So, Esteban. I'm still waiting for my approval from the delegation. It has Ghanaian, Liberian, and Sierra Leonean, 12.8%. Senegambian and Ghanaian, 6.8%. Congolese, 3.2%. Broadly West African, 11.6%. Broadly Sub-Saharan African, 4.3%. And if for some reason somebody is out there adding up these percentages and they're like, that doesn't add up to 60.6, it's because I skipped a couple that were less than 1%. Let me live, okay? Can I live? And then for European, it says British 14%, which is really comparable to Ancestry DNA, because Ancestry DNA said Great Britain 15%. French and German, 8.1%. Ashkenazi Jewish, 1.4%. Spanish and Portuguese, 1.1%. So it went from 3% Iberian Peninsula to 1.1%. Broadly Northwestern European, 8.4%. Broadly European, 3.7%. And so getting both of these reports, something that it did was give me like, I guess, a concrete, like something concrete to go back to. So, I was saying, as growing up as an African American, Black American, like I could tell you continents. Like I could say my family was from Africa, my family was from Europe, but I couldn't point to something specific because so much time has passed since we had a family member from whatever these specific places were that we lost like that specific memory. And so having these countries to point to was a starting point, right? But like my interaction showed when I went to Equatorial Guinea, sometimes just knowing the country or an estimate of the country that 15% of your ancestry comes from doesn't give you like a whole new ready-made identity, right? And so what it did do for me though was kind of inspire me to want to travel to more of these places. So for example, I've been to Great Britain, where 15% of my ancestry is from. I've been near Cameroon and the Congo, haven't actually been to either one. I haven't been to Nigeria. And so as someone who loves to travel, someone who's trying to see the world, this is kind of like now a roadmap for me where I say like, well, even if the government is using these data to clone me, even if they're not 100% accurate, like they've inspired in me this desire to go and get to know these different places and possibly, you know, where my ancestry could be from. So it's not to say that I only want to go places where I have ancestors, but it adds new places, you know, that perhaps I wouldn't have had on my list before. And so when people ask that question, what are you? You know, what are you? It can be a bit off-putting because I assume they mean like, what's your race? What's your ethnicity? But when you say, what are you? It's like, I am a human being. I'm Black American. If you ask me in Spanish, I will say that yo soy negra americana, like black. Even though I know some people are hesitant to say negro or negra, and so they'll say moreno or morena. And so depending on who I'm with, I might say I'm morena americana. And sometimes I say Afroamericana. It's kind of like African American. But in Spanish, Afroamericana as a term is much broader than African American in English. I'd love to talk to you about your experiences. Have you ever invested in a DNA test? Are you part of the conspiracy theory bunch? Are you part of the these tests ain't accurate bunch? How did you come into your identity? And how does it affect you when you move through the world? These are questions that I consider every day as I'm moving through the world and then as I'm beginning to travel. And I'd love to know what you think.